Hello, and welcome back to Unhelpful Yoda. Today we're going to be talking about Junji Ito's cat diary, Yon Mu. Originally released in the monthly magazine Z, kind of like a Shonen Jump type, or like a weekly Shonen Jump type magazine over in Japan, from January 2008 to February 2009. It was eventually collected into one single volume, which isn't super big, in March of 2009. A little background. Junji Ito was born in 1963, and at a young age he began reading manga by Kazuo Umezu and Tenichi Koga in magazines that his older sisters would read. In 1987 he submitted a short story to Monthly Halloween and won an honorable mention in the Kazuo Umezu Prize. This story eventually became Tomi. Among other works, he's done Black Paradox, Dissolving Classroom, Fragments of Horror, Goyo, Love Sickness, the Junji Ito story collection, Censor, Uzumaki, and plenty of others. He has a very extensive collection of work, but it varies between one-shots and small stories or short stories, and just full-on manga, that are quite long, something like a Tomi or a Uzumaki. It's a semi-autobiographical book, little manga, mostly comedy, a little horror comedy, I guess, about Junji Ito and his wife and their two cats. Very different from his typical work. If you've read something like Uzumaki or Tomi or Goyo, those are much more horror influenced, or just horror manga in general. This, on the other hand, is fun because it's not a horror manga. It's very much a comedy and just a slice of life type manga, but Ito's style is very horror themed. So throughout the book, you'll get random pages of definitely horror inspired images that just are funny. You get his typical horror style, but with some funny images. It's really neat. The story follows J-kun, who is a self-insert for Ito himself, and his wife Eiko, who is his wife both in real life and in the manga, and their cats Yon and Mu, and this means 4 and 6 in Japanese. I probably am not pronouncing it right, but generally it is 4 and 6 in Japanese, and they're named this way because his wife's cats, Yon, was their 4th family cat, and while they did have another one after that, I believe called Goro, the next cat that they got, which is the cat that J-kun and Eiko got together, was Mu, and so she named it Mu 6. I don't believe that Goro is 5, but I guess keeping with the naming theme of counting, they just went with the 6. They also have a dog, but you don't really see the dog that much throughout the book, which is kind of funny that the dog just it's talked about in the beginning, because apparently Ito is a dog fan, is more of a dog person, and then by the end of the book, obviously he's much more of he loves the cats very much. He spends most of the book trying to play with the cats and cuddling with the cats, or wanting the cats to cuddle with him, even though they always choose to cuddle with his wife, and it's pretty funny. So as a cat owner, I understand the struggles of having cats who pick their favorite and wanting to play with them, or at least try to play with them, which is actually why I picked to do a video on this book first. Honestly, I would not recommend this as your first Ito book unless you just really have no interest in his horror mangas. If you just want to read it because it's a funny cat book, go right ahead. It's fantastic on its own. You don't really need any of the horror with it. All his books are kind of self-contained. You don't really need to read any of them in any particular order. However, knowing what Ito's style is makes this book a little bit more enjoyable, because like I said, you do get those very much horror-inspired panels that really work because he's already a horror manga artist and they're in a comedy book. That is part of the charm of the book, is seeing the vast contrast between his typical style and this book. So I would say don't read this first if you want to read his other stuff. I think his other stuff is better, for lack of a better term. This is very good. His style is the horror stuff, and his horror manga are very, very good. So I wouldn't recommend this as your first read unless you just really have no interest. But as a standalone book, it is fantastic. And it's, again, very short, but it's worth every bit of it. It's only like 200 pages. It took me one sitting to read through this, and it was cute. It's short, cute, very nice book. If you're an Ito fan, highly recommend it. If you're a cat fan, I highly recommend it. And if you're just looking for a silly slice of life book that's not like your typical high school student stuff, this is honestly the best one I've read in a long time. Usually slice of life manga is not my personal interest, but this one was very good. Anyway, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with more nerd news or another video shortly, and we'll definitely be covering more of Ito's work in the future. I have about 5 or 6 of his books right now that I'm working my way through, and we'll be doing videos on them as we go forward, but I want to start with this one because it was cute and I really liked it. But again, this probably isn't the book to start with if you want to read his books. Thanks for watching.